In this video, I will tell you about the arc tool of AutoCAD. So here we have a simple square with 100 unit length and 100 unit width. Now, when you go to the draw panel, you'll see this arc fly out, and when you expand it, you'll see 11 different options for making the arc. So we'll start with the first option, which is 3-point arc. And as the name suggests, you need to enter 3 different points in order to make this arc. So I'll click at the first point, then second point somewhere over here, and the third point here, and here we have it. So in this way you can create the arc with 3 different points. Now let's look at the other option, which is start, center and end. So here we need to enter the start point at first, then the center point and the end point. So now let's start with the start point. So I'll click at this point, that will be the start point. Now I'll click at the center point, which will be the midpoint of this line. And now you'll notice that the arc is being formed in anti-clockwise direction, just like this. And now you only need to enter the third point. So click anywhere in the drawing area to apply the third point, and I can click here to make the arc. And here we have it. Now let's go to the other option here, and here we have this start, center and angle. Now before making this arc, I'll simply erase both of these arcs which we have made, and now select this start, center and angle. So once again we need to first click on the start point, then the center point, and now the angle. Now this will be the included angle of the arc. Now you can enter the included angle directly by clicking anywhere in the drawing area, or you can also type the angle. So in this case, let's say that we want to make an included angle of 30 degrees. So I'll simply type 30 on the command line and press enter. And here we have it. Now what included angle is actually, so let's make a line to show it more clearly. So click on the line tool, and now go to the center of arc and make this line. Now the angle which is in between this line and this line is of 30 degree, and you can verify it with this angle tool. So let's zoom into this area, and here you can see that the included angle is 30 degrees. So now let's remove it completely. And now let's look at other options here. So in a similar way, you can create an arc with a chord length. So here also we need to enter the start point, then center point, and then the chord length. So let's select it and click at the start point. And now the center point, which you can select at this point or any other point. Let's click here. That will be the center point. And now you need to enter the chord length. And in this case, the maximum chord length can be equal to the diameter. And you cannot make a chord which is longer than the diameter, obviously, and depending upon the chord length the arc will be made. So let's say that we want to make an arc with a chord length of 60 units. So let's type 60 and press enter. So now in this case, the length of this line, the line joining this endpoint of arc and this endpoint of arc, should be equal to 60 units. So that is the chord, and this is the chord length here in this case, and the length of this chord is 60 units. So let's erase it. And let's look at other options. So now we have these options in which we generally need an angle. So here also we have this start point, end point, and then angle. So let's click on this start point, then the end point, not the midpoint. So here I'm clicking for my end point, and now we need to specify the angle. Now this will be the included angle of the arc. So here also you can click anywhere in the drawing area to specify the angle, or you can also type the angle value. So I'll simply type the angle value, which is 90 in this case, and press enter. So now you must be wondering what this 90 angle is. So for explaining this, I'll make a line, and I'll click on this endpoint, and I'll join it with the midpoint or the center point of the arc, and I'll join it with the second endpoint of the arc. Now the angle between this line, let's erase this extra line. So now the angle between this line and this line should be 90 degrees. And again, you can verify it with the same angle dimension, and we'll learn about these dimensioning later on. So here you can see the angle is 90 degrees. So let's erase these geometries, and let's look at other options. So now the next option is start, end and direction. So once again, here we have the starting point, then the end point, and now the tangential direction. So here you can simply see that as I move my cursor, the tangent line is moving, and also the radius of arc is changing. and here we can change it directly, but this line, the dotted one, is always tangent to this arc. Now if you want to change the direction, you can simply hold the control key and the direction will change just like this, and this control key will also work for all the remaining arcs which we have drawn so far. So let's release the control key, and now let's click anywhere in the drawing area to make the arc just like this. Now let's look at the other option, which is start and radius. So in this case, we need to first click at the start point, then we need to click at the end point, and now we need to specify the radius value. So that will be the radius of arc. So let's type a radius value of 60 units, and here we have it. Now this arc has a radius of 60 unit. So let's now erase both of these arcs, and let's look at other options. So now we have this center, start and end. So obviously we need to first specify the center point, then start and then end. So let's click at this point. So that will be the center point. Now the start point, and choose this point as the start point. And now you'll notice that the arc can be made in anti-clockwise direction. And all you need to do is specify the end point. So here I'm clicking to specify the end point. Now you can change the direction of this arc simply by changing the start point. So I'll select this option once again, and this time I'll select the same center point, but the starting point will be this one, and now the arc will be made in opposite direction. You can also change this direction by simply holding the control key as we have done in the previous case. So I'll just release it and I'll click here. So let's now erase it. And now let's look at the other options. So now the next option is center, start and angle. So here obviously we need to specify the center point and then the start point and the included angle. So here we have the center point, the starting point, and now we need to specify the included angle as we did in the previous case. But the only difference is that we are specifying the center point instead of the start and end points. So here also you can click anywhere to specify the angle, or you can simply enter the angle value just like this. So here I'm entering 90 and the arc is made with an included angle of 90 degrees. So if you make a straight line here, the included angle will be 90 degrees. So let's erase it now and let's look at this option once again. So here we have this center, start and length. So obviously you need to specify the center point and then the start point and the length of chord, and which is very similar to the arc which we have already made. So you can click anywhere to make this arc, and the length of this chord will be the length which you specified by clicking in the drawing area. Now the last option is a little bit different, the continue arc, and for this you need to make an arc, then only it will work. So we need to make an arc here. So I'll select this 3 point, now click at this point, now click somewhere around this point, and now click at the middle point somewhere around this. So here we have this arc. Now let's go to this flyout and select the continue option. Now as soon as you click on the continue option, you'll notice that another arc will be formed, and that arc will be tangential, or the geometry will be completely continuous in between these two arcs. And if you select the continue option once again, the next arc will follow the previous one, and in this case also the geometry will be completely continuous, or the arcs will have a completely tangential geometry at the point of contact, just like this. So this was all about creating arc with different options of the arc flyout. So you can use any of these options depending upon the geometry which you want to make, but the most frequent one are the 3-point arc, the start end radius and the center start end, which I mostly use, but you can obviously use other options depending upon the situation.